All right, now I'll share with y'all a little bit about my latest story, The Right Kind of Fool. It's set in the 1930s in West Virginia. Ann and I both have written some Depression era historicals, which, you know, it's such a fun era, right, Ann? um, but The Right Kind of Fool is, I got the inspiration for it when I was researching a completely different story about an unsolved murder in West Virginia. And this woman had been murdered. The murder has really never been officially solved, but if you read up on it, you kind of know probably who did it. But as I was researching it, I came across just like this one line in the historical information about how her body was discovered by a deaf mute boy, and that was like all there was to it. And I was just so intrigued by that idea of, you know, if the first person to find the body was deaf and mute, how would they then share the information? How did this guy tell people about it? How did he testify? And I did eventually find a record about the trial that said that he used hand signs. So I threw out the unsolved murder story and I changed over to this idea of a 13-year-old boy growing up in Beverly, West Virginia, who discovers a dead body. And there's this family dynamic where his father is estranged from the family because he feels like he's responsible for his son Loyal. There's a great name. I just love that name. He feels like he's responsible for his son Loyal's death or deafness. And so it's there's kind of a murder mystery story, but really the heart of the story is this family healing and coming together as they begin to realize how much more there is to Loyal than just a boy who can't hear. And I was loving this idea as I was coming up with it, but then I thought, what are you doing? You're trying to write from the point of view of a boy who's deaf, which are two things I am definitely not. But it was so much fun, and I actually incorporated a lot of American Sign Language into the story. There was a school for the deaf and blind. It's still there in West Virginia. It's just a little bit east of where I set my story. So it was really fun to write a story and kind of juxtapose that, you know, how would people in a very rural part of Appalachia have reacted to someone who was deaf in the 1930s.